What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today I'm going to showcase a Pokemon that at the start of the season I called complete garbage, Togekiss. So, in my defense, they didn't tell me they were going to make Orisphere a Hydro Cannon clone. That is ridiculous. It's great pacing, amazing coverage as well for this Pokemon, and you pair it up with Peck, and you have a Pokemon that is a ridiculous attacker as well as Dazzling Gleam for nuke potential. I feel like Togekiss has so much play right now in the meta. I'm going to pair it up here with a Mud Slapper using Claydol actually today, having a lot more play to the flying types using both Ice Beam as well as Rock Tomb, and then in the back, the bulky Dusclops, a good Pokemon just on almost any team to run. I figured might as well give it a go in a Dragon-type meta. Ice Punch coverage could be amazing, so let's get into the battles and see what this team can do. Let's get into the first game. Togekiss that is, in the lead up against a Shadow Dragonair. We're going to see what we can do against the Dragon-type Pokemon. Actually, we can't. They swap out, but we're still in a very good spot. While we don't have a hard counter to Azu, Pecks are kind of shredding through their HP, honestly. I can go for a Dazzling Gleam as well. This move is a hard-hitting nuke. It puts them down below half HP. I catch an attack on our Dusclops. Let's see what it's going to be. At this point, Azumarill is going to be in such a tricky spot here. Player off going to do about 30% of our HP, but Dusclops is such a spammy Pokemon. We can build up a lot of energy here. And with the amount of energy we have, and with the fact that wasn't a CMP, this Azumarill is not going to get a lot of work done. Shadow Punch coming through our opponent, lets it go down, and in comes our next Shadow Punch on CMP. Dusclops actually winning a CMP against something here, Azu having even less attack than us. In comes a Dragonair once again, and I know Dragon Breath damage is not going to do too much. We can go for the Ice Punch as well. They CMP for some reason on this Aqua Tail. We can survive. We can go for that Ice Punch even still, and I think after this, I might just want to swap out into our Togetic. Alright, Togekiss. I'm not going to get used to this Pokemon being meta, geez. Togekiss comes back in. We're going to go for the Peck Down, and I guess they didn't have an answer for us, likely like a Mud Slapper or something in the back line. Love to see it, though. Great job, Togekiss. Next game is a Shadow Gyarados in the lead. Another Dragon Breath user, but one with Stab Aqua Tail, actually. So if they want to stay in here for just a second, they can go for the Aqua Tail, chip us down, and make it a little bit hard for us to use our Togekiss completely as a core breaker. They come in with a Dusclops here in the backline, a Pokemon that, once again, I don't have an instant counter swap for, but our Peck damage as well as our Dazzling Gleam going to put them down deep into the yellow. We're going to swap into our Dusclops now, our opponent throwing a Shadow Punch into us. This move will do a decent amount, but I know our Dusclops should be able to survive two pretty comfortably and go for some Shadow Punches against that Gyarados when it comes back in. They go for yet another attack here. I can survive this Shadow Punch. I can build back up to back-to-back attacks. If they want a double shield, they can be my guest. If they don't want a double shield, then I'll get a move into their backline. Let's see what they want to do. Shadow Punch being thrown. What are they going to choose to do? They let their Dusclops go down, and in the backline, who do they bring in? They're thinking here for just a second. They end up bringing in a Gastrodon. Okay, that's actually a little bit awkward for us right now. How do I take out this Gastrodon? I didn't want to give him a huge energy lead, so I actually bring back in my Togekiss here. But honestly, this might be pretty bad for us now. This Gastrodon's going to neutralize the rest of our Togekiss, and then they're going to be able to just use their Gyarados against our Claydol. I just lost this game. That was definitely my fault, though. This was not Togekiss's fault. This was my fault. I should have been able to win this one, but yeah, Gyarados just too good, I guess. Well played to our opposing trainer there. I feel like we could have won that one, but, sometimes you throw games. Next game is going to be a Komoo in the lead. If they're on Poison Jab or Metal Sound, they'll have fast attack pressure against us, but if not, then we just hard wall them about as hard as you can. They go for a Safe Swap of a Shadow Typhlosion. We can shield a single time, Mud Slap all the way down, and use our energy from Claydol against their Komoo if they bring that back in. This is where having access to Ice Beam is so nice. Our opponent might end up going for a shield, but honestly, knowing that I have a Togekiss in the backline, it would be kind of a waste of a shield. I wall every single attack they could have here. In comes that Ice Beam. Down goes their shield, actually. And they're going to be forced to throw energy against us if they don't want to take a second. So yeah, down goes a shield as well as a lot of their energy here. They're going to go for a Clinging Scales. It knocks me out. It lowers their defense stat. Likely they will swap out after the fact here. What is going to be in the backline? It is going to be a Jirachi. Okay, so unfortunately for this opposing trainer, we kind of just RPS him as hard as we can. But Dusclops is going to have the time of its life against that little Psychic-type Pokemon. Another good lead for us, actually, is going to be another Dragon-type Pokemon. Altaria is going to be fantastic for a Fairy-type to see. They Safe Swap a Talonflame, rather, into our Togekiss. We go for the Safe Swap of our Dusclops, or the Counter Swap, and this is going to be a bit awkward. I know that Dusclops, while it is able to put in a lot of work here, it's not like a Counter Swap to a Talonflame, right? It's not going to be able to shut it down, and if they do end up flipping Switch, they'll get their Flyer against my Claydol. But that's where having Claydol is kind of nice. I have Ice Beam. I can one-shot the Altaria potentially, or at least do a lot of damage to them. I don't know if it's quite a one-shot, but we're going to go for that shield on the Flame Charge, go for my next Shadow Punch here. After 3 more hexes saying they went for a Flame Charge instead of a Fly, I know I can outpace them. And this next attack here, it's not going to knock him out potentially, but it will put him pretty low, or I guess get their final shield. One more Shadow Punch is going to be reached. Dusclops is a menace. Shadow Punch, is it enough to knock out? Please tell me it is. A 1 HP survive by this Talonflame is now going to mean that they're going to draw a shield from our Togekiss. We have a lot of energy here. We know both Aura Sphere as well as Dazzling Gleam are going to hit a lot of Pokemon in this meta for some real damage, and they come in, I guess, a triple flyer team. That's kind of cool from our opponent. But while this might not be a great matchup, a Steel type into a Fairy type, I think Togekiss actually has quite a bit of play. We're going to go for a couple of Pecks as well as an Aura Sphere in just a second. As long as they don't have Iron Head, they can't one-shot us. They go for an Air Cutter there. We're going to go for the back-to-back Aura Spheres, and now we are just going to be able to go for one and then the other, and then we are only 6 more Pecks away from a Dazzling Gleam against the Altaria. We don't see a catch come through by our opponent, so at this point, they are in such a bad spot. Altaria can't really farm us down. They have to throw a move to knock us out, and Claydol lurking in the backline with a potential Ice Beam to land against them if we need it, should be able to win us this game. Dazzling Gleam coming through. Our opponent has no shield to hide behind. How much damage does this do? Altaria is bulky, but not bulky enough to really easily tank that attack here. Sky Attack will knock us out at this point, but Claydol should honestly even be able to just Mud Slap down. Altaria does land that Sky Attack, but in comes Claydol, one of the bulkiest Mud Slap users in the game, and despite Ground not doing a lot in general to Flying-type Pokemon, it will be enough here to farm down over time. Sky Attack's going to come through, or even Moonblast here. They're going to get the debuff as well, but, you know, we can still slap down. Who even cares? Claydol is a menace at times itself. Next game is a Corviknight in the lead, and this Pokemon is actually a little bit awkward for our team. We know at this point they have Payback for our backline, as well as potentially the ability to have Iron Head, but I'd be surprised if any Corviknights are running Iron Head right now. Now, once again, an Air Cutter being thrown, but they do get that boost there, which means that they might be able to go for another Air Cutter, and if they boost a second time, that could make things a little bit annoying. But with Air Cutter not doing too much damage, we do survive pretty comfortably. They do get a second boost. Of course they do. I shouldn't have said anything. Or if you're going to be thrown right now, though, this move will be able to come close to two-shotting. And I think in the 1s and 2s, Togekiss actually just straight up wins. In the Zero Shield matchup, you do just get outpaced to that third attack, and they don't get two-shot quite yet. But yeah, look at how much damage Togekiss is doing in this matchup. And this is the worst-case scenario, the double boost on the Corviknight. And we're still going to be able to shield once, go for a full peck down. That's not good. A Spiritomb in the backline. Okay, well, I was getting hyped up for no reason. I think we're in a pretty bad spot now. They're going to shield once, Sucker Punch us all the way down. Dusclops can come in to try to whittle down a Spiritomb, I guess. Shadow Ball would one-shot us. I have to shield and hope they don't bait us. Our opponent, of course, baits us, which means now we are going to do almost no damage to this Pokemon. I think the only way we can win this game, if it's like a Dedenne or something in the backline that our Claydol just shuts down, this is not looking good for us. Let's see what we can do. Shadow Punch once again getting thrown. Does this get a shield from our opponent, or will they just survive? I think they do survive, but they let it go, and they know that. They have no shield, and they go for another Rock Tomb, Spiritomb, just unwinding my backline right now. At least Dusclops has put them into a range where we can Mud Slap down if we need to. Okay. You know, I don't think we're really going to have a lot of play this game. A double Ghost backline against double weak to Ghost, that's going to be an uphill battle no matter what. They go for an attack here so quick, and they're on Shadow Sneak. They're not even on, like, Ancient Power or anything, which means Claydol, nowhere to go. Rock Tomb will be thrown. It does get a shield. You know, maybe if I can get a catch-off, then maybe somehow I can Rock Tomb them, knock them out, and then use... no, there's not much play here. Giratina is just going to sweep us at that point. Unfortunate. Togekiss, though, I mean, at least we had a lot of fun against Corviknight at the start there. There we go. We're back to the good leads. The Hakamo in the lead. A Shadow Cradily on the safe swap. I'm hoping they don't know I have Aura Sphere, because if they don't, this is going to do so much damage. But I feel like at this point, it's, you know, the secret's out of the bag. Togekiss is good. It has Aura Sphere. So yeah, they do shield. In comes an attack here into our Dusclops. But I know they can't one-shot us with whatever they're going to throw. It's going to be a Rock Tomb that comes through. And that is going to do a decent chunk of damage. But from the shadow, it's not even enough here to two-shot us. So I can go for this Ice Punch. Our opponent is knowing at this point that I'm at the Ice Punch plus Shadow Punch. Maybe they want to go for another instant attack. I go for the Sneak, and we're able to get a full Hex through. What are they going to throw here? They actually go for the Grass Knot, kind of a heads-up play. Does a little bit more raw damage than a Rock Tomb would have done, and despite the fact they don't get a debuff there, I think they can just shield once, farm us all the way down with Acids. So they do go down 2 shields, but they do flip switch. But I don't know if it's really going to matter for them. I have Ice Beam on my Claydol. I can just go for a 1-shield farm down against this as well, and use Claydol up energy to hopefully sweep this game. In comes a move here. What's it going to be? Likely a Grass Knot. Could be a Rock Tomb if they want to get a little bit cheeky, but no, they do go for the full-on Grass Knot there. We farm them down. In comes at Hakamo. They have access to what? I think Rock Tomb was added to their moveset here in this season, but no matter what they're going to throw, it's not going to one-shot a Claydol. And a Claydol, even on low HP, as long as they have a shield, should be able to take out a lot of things that Togekiss does not want to see. And anything else, Togekiss up a shield should be pretty fine against as well. So I think just farm this down. Oh yeah, Shadow Charizard, unfortunately for them, does not want to see a Rock Tomb. That's just going to get one shot. Oh no. Well, I mean, I'm happy with this, but they're probably not. Down goes Shadow Charizard. In comes out Hakamo, a full sweep from our Claydol. Good stuff. Next game, Togekiss into a Shadow Talonflame. All right. Don't like to see Shadow Talonflame here with our team. I don't have a single fire resist, and if they have Flame Charge, they're just going to ramp up their attack stats so much. But since they are the Shadow, our Pecks are doing a lot of damage, and Orisphere are likely as well going to get a guaranteed shield. They do shield the attack up, and they also instantly throw a move. That doesn't give me a lot of hope that they're running anything other than Flame Charge. Yeah, they do ramp up their attack stat. A little bit scary here. I can't get their second shield with this next Aura Wheel, or a Sphere, that is, which means that at this point, we will be able to maybe have some play in the backline with our Claydol. I go for the catch on our Dusclops. I guess this is kind of a good play, but it's also just kind of awkward depending on what they have in the back. Flame Charge comes through, puts us down very low on HP, and I'm going to go for a Shadow Punch right before they're able to farm us all the way down. The Shadow Punch is not going to do a lot of damage to a lot of things, but it's enough damage to knock out that Talonflame. I guess speaking of things that's not going to do a lot of damage, into Bastiodon comes in. This Pokemon is not a pick I like to see, at least not for my Dusclops, but as long as the backline is not absolutely terrible against our Claydol, potentially we could have some play even still. We swap out, oh man, if it was like almost any other Pokemon, I think we could have had some play here, but even a shield advantage and an energy lead, I don't really think saves us from this. They have so much energy on their Bastiodon, and we don't even two-shot them here with Rock Tombs, which means we're not going to be able to do too much. They're going to go for a Surf, almost certainly. Yeah, they Surf Beta, so I call that at the very least. It's not a Shadow Ball, but I don't think it really matters at this point. We're in Flamethrower range, and because they're already at another move, we have to use a shield. If I didn't have to shield here, I might be able to win this, but since I do have to shield, and since at this point their Basti just has so much energy, I don't know how I could even take it out. They do go for the Basti play here. They come in. Can they go for an attack against us? They go for what is likely going to be a Flamethrower to knock us out. I could have maybe tried to go for a catch there, but it's so hard to catch against a Bastiodon. You never know when they're going to throw. I'm going to try to reach an Aura Sphere. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to reach it. And Shadow Punches here going to do an absolutely pitiful amount of damage to this Bastiodon. Shadow Punch 1 going to land, doesn't do anything. Shadow Punch number 2 going to land and still not do anything to this Bastiodon. I don't know why they buffed this Pokemon in this season. Why did they do this to us? I don't know. I'm still one peck away from the Aura Sphere. They have a Stone Edge. I mean, Togekiss, if I had the Aura Sphere, could have knocked him out, but just one fast attack off from winning this game, so, close stuff there, but GG to our opponent. Next game is a Lucario lead. This could either be really good or really bad, depending on their fast move. Of course, this Bullet Punch, I have to swap out there. I can't stay in that. And they bring in an Altaria here as the counter swap into our Claydol. I have Ice Beam, right? So they have to respect that, almost certainly here. They go for a Sky Attack into us. That move is going to do so much damage, but it's not going to quite put us into Dragon Breath downrange, not just yet at least. I go for the Rock Tomb. Our opponent might want to shield this up. It could be an Ice Beam, but they call the bait. I guess that's the issue with going for Rock Tomb. Sometimes your opponent are smart. They realize Rock Tomb is such a tempting move to throw. But now another Rock Tomb going to come through. Will this one get a shield? Our opponent does go, they should go for the no shield there. And they bring in a Togekiss. They're going to get a massive farm down against us. I honestly probably should have swapped out there, but I don't even know what I want to do. They have so much energy on this Togekiss. I think I have to bring in my own here to sponge the energy. I'm hoping they're running Psyshock as well as Aura Sphere. Then they don't have as much charge attack pressure into us, but a Dazzling Gleam comes through, puts us deep into the red. They bring in that Lucario. Another Bullet Punch lands against our Togekiss, putting us so low on HP. I have to hope at this point that this is a Shadow Ball and I'm shielding up the proper move. What is it going to be here? Our opponent goes for a Power-Up Punch. We shield a Power-Up Punch on our Dusclops. That's so bad. They go for an Aura Sphere, so they're double fighting. I shouldn't have shielded. That is so bad. I don't know what to say. We're going to spam out as many Shadow Punches as we can here. Okay, we knock out the Lucario. That's good, I guess. We can go for Ice Punches now, too. It is super effective into this Togekiss. Maybe there's a chance we can get shields down, and if I get shields down, then maybe I could also reach on a Dazzling Gleam of my own on my Togekiss, but I don't know if I have enough HP now. He took some Bullet Punch damage. Can I bring it in? Can I survive long enough here? Come on, Togekiss, please. Oh, we survive. We get the Dazzling Gleam off and somehow come back from this game despite shielding a Power-Up Punch on our Dusclops. We're able to win that one, so GG to our opponent. That was ridiculous. Next game, Togekiss in the mirror match. I do have a pretty high-ranked Togekiss here, so not really expecting to win this mirror too easily, but in comes a move here pretty early on. That was probably only going to be a Psyshock here. Our opponent threw pretty early, or an Ancient Power, I guess. That's even worse, actually. But we're going to go for the Dazzling Gleam one way or another. Our opponent can shield if they want to. They let it go down. I bring in my Claydol to get an energy lead, and I would assume I wall the energy of their Togekiss. If they have Ancient Power, they have to have Aura Sphere, right? Maybe they have Aerial, who's to say at this point. No, it is just an Aura Sphere. We do resist the attack. They bring in their Shadow Torterra. I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. This is one of the good things that we have with our Claydol rather than like a Marowak. We actually have charge attack pressure against some of the other Mud Slappers, so we're able to go for the Ice Beam, get a shield here. I think I might even be able to shield this up, go for another Ice Beam in just a second, so that's what I'm going to try to do. Frenzy Plant would have knocked us out quite easily there. Probably would have one-shot us from full HP. It's a very strong attack. Ice Beam once again being thrown. I probably should be going for Rock Tomb baits, but we've seen what happens when I do that. Then our opponents just go for the no shield. They do double shield us there, which is not the best thing to see, but Dusclops can come in, go for Ice Punches as well against this, and as long as they don't have a terrible matchup for us in the backline, there might still be a chance for us to win. Actually attempt a catch, which is amazing, which means now we have even more energy than we would have otherwise had. They bring in an Empoleon here, and I think I see a way to win this game. Torterra is not a spammy Pokemon, right? Which means at this point, I should be able to go for a lot of Hex energy generation, Shadow Punch as many times against this Empoleon as I need to, and build up as much as I can here to go for an Ice Punch once again against that Torterra. Another Shadow Punch being thrown, our opponent can shield this up if they want to. Actually, no, they can't. They have no shields remaining. I don't know what I'm talking about. We're still able to go for another Shadow Punch, though. This move will knock him out at this point, right before their next Hydro Cannon will be thrown. Can I reach this Ice Punch before their next Frenzy Plant? I have to hope that I can here. 2 hexes away, we're able to reach it, knock out the Torterra, and Dusclops sweeping the endgame. You don't get to see that too often, but Dusclops sometimes is a little bit of a hard Pokemon to take out, and as you can see there, being so spammy can be helpful as well. Next game is a Jirachi, a Pokemon that my backline's honestly pretty good into, but our lead not so much. So I Safe Swap here with our Claydol, and we are met once again by a Shadow Torterra. I guess this is the Pokemon of the day. Pokemon people are trying to try out. I don't even know. We go for the Rock Tomb bait this time. We finally get a Rock Tomb bait in our favor here. Love to see that. I'm going to go for the No Shield, knowing at this point this would be a nasty peck down for... Oh, okay, they go for a Sand Tomb. That's even better. I was going to say it would be a nasty peck down for our Togekiss. Either way, now we force them to throw 2 attacks into us, which is even better. I can still peck them down if I need to, get a massive energy head start against that Jirachi, and I mean, nothing really wants to take all this energy. Our opponent realizes that, so they actually bring in their own Togekiss here. I can go for the Dazzling Gleam instantly. They're already down 1 shield. Do they want to use a second one right now? They let it go. That is so much damage into the Togekiss, enough so that I think I can go for the shield, peck all the way down, and then use all of my energy against that Jirachi, as well as potentially just fast move down that Torterra if we need to. One more peck knocks out that Togekiss. We're able to get a lot of energy coming out of that. Who are they going to bring in? Likely going to see that Jirachi here in just a second. Yeah, in comes that Jirachi. This Aura Sphere is going to do a lot of damage if they let it go, and if they shield this up, then a Shadow Punch in the backline will knock them out. They do end up letting it go. They do survive, but the Hex damage is super effective into the Psychic-type Pokemon. We're able to no-shield this Doom Desire, go for some more Astonish damage, or Hex damage rather, against them, and then go for a Shadow Punch when we see this Torterra come back in. There's not much they can really do at this point. Dusclops is way too spammy here. Our opponent is trying to win as much as they can, but because I still have my Togekiss in the back line, I can even just no-shield this, call the Sand Tomb bait once again, and I can go for a Shadow Punch here and knock them out and just have the shield advantage on my Togekiss. Why not? Just close out the game with our Fairy type into the Steel type. I can swap out, not even give them a farm down on the Jirachi. There's not much they can do at this point. We have the Aura Sphere. They might have back-to-back Doom Desires. I don't even think they do. But even if they did, we win CMP with Togekiss, and we can guarantee the win by going for the Aura Sphere. They realize that, they end up quitting out of the game, and we're able to pick up the win. Down goes that Jirachi. Togekiss, once again, a very fun Pokemon. Next game here is going to be Togekiss once again against a Dragon-type Pokemon. How many Dragon types are we going to see today? I guess it's the best thing about Togekiss, as well as the fact that it core breaks the Dragon plus Mudslap duo. We go for an Aura Sphere here. Are they going to shield? Will they let it go? That is the big question. They do shield the attack up here. I try to catch a Rock Slide on our Claydol. Doesn't quite work out. But no matter what, I think we're in a pretty good spot, because I can still survive 2 Bone Clubs. I can go for an Ice Beam or some Rock Tombs against that Altaria if they bring that back in. And no matter what, right now, my Togekiss as well has quite a bit of energy still on it. They go for yet another Bone Club into us, but we do survive. We slap all the way down, but here's a play I'm going to do. I'm actually going to go for the stop tapping play. I don't even know what to call that there, where I just let them get my HP down a little bit lower. This gives less farm to the Altaria when they bring this back in. If I would have not taken those 3 extra Mud Slaps, then they would have got a huge farm down against us, and that would have meant they could go for a lot of attacks into our Togekiss, but now they have almost no energy on that Pokemon. They bring in the Shadow Empoleon, and I can outpace to an Aura Sphere, and not giving that Altaria all the energy means that now we're in such a good spot where Dusclops can just spam out all the charge attacks in the world, and Ice Punch the Altaria if that comes in, go for Shadow Punches against this, and through, this is looking like such a bad matchup for our opponent right now. Hydro Cannon's not even enough to one-shot us here, but I know they are the highest damaging moves left over in this game. Might as well double shield my Dusclops at this point. They're already at another Hydro Cannon, but we are almost already at our next Shadow Punch. They're going to go for this attack here. Their Switch Clock is going to come back up here in just a second, but even if they catch, I don't think that's really going to help them. Their HP is getting pretty low on this Empoleon. We're not even in range where we'd get knocked out by a Hydro Cannon, even still. So going for this next Shadow Punch in just a second is going to knock them out, but not before they do get a parting gift off with this next Hydro Cannon. There's not really any reason not to just go for the instant play of going for the Shadow Punch here. Makes it so I can guarantee either this Pokemon goes down or the Altaria goes down. They're going to come back in with that Altaria, but they're so low, so little energy as well, we're able to pick up the win. Togekiss, such a great core breaker, as we saw here in today's video. I kind of feel bad calling this Pokemon garbage tier at the start of the season. Once again, I did not realize Orisphere was going to be as good of a move as it became. It's a Hydro Cannon clone. It's great coverage for a Fairy-type Pokemon to have. You have coverage into the Steel types, and with Peck, it reaches it so quickly. Its coverage is amazing, and this team was very strong, very solid. So if you want to use a hard meta team, try this one out. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.